So this is the WILBA.TECH Thermal, and today let's talk about the building experience with this, the sound impressions, the typing experience, and my overall thoughts. So the building experience with the WILBA.TECH Thermal was actually pretty simple. And to start, we're going to open the case, which you can see me doing right now. Alright, so we've taken the build apart. My variation of the WILBA.TECH Thermal is the E-White version, which is available now at the time of launch of this video, but there's a lot to digest with the Thermal. It's a very soft typing experience, which we'll get into later, and it's done by a few things, and we're going to talk about that. And how we're going to talk about that is talking about the building experience, because that will actually tie into what the build actually is. So the Thermal comes with a hot swap PCB, as you guys can see here, and it comes with a leaf spring plate, which you guys can see as well. Now, when it comes down to the build experience itself, there's a few things I want to go over. So here's the top piece of the Thermal, and you'll notice that there's a bunch of pour-on pads here. This is going to be included from now on with the Thermal, and this will actually help reduce some of the ping in case something actually happens with the leaf spring plate. Now, are the pour-on pads needed? I've tried only with them, so I can't really say without, but from what I understand, it does help reduce any sort of error with the building experience. So you can see the plate itself has a bunch of these cuts, which can actually help with the flex of the plate. Now, the one thing I want to go over, and I stress this highly, is just be careful as you're assembling this. Any sort of bending or flexing of the actual plate as you install the switches on the other side of this can cause the plate to not install properly inside the actual frame. And that means just handle this part here with care. How this works is it disperses the actual impact of your typing very differently, and it creates for a very soft, and I like to use the word fluffy, typing experience. And I really do mean that. It is an awesome typing experience. Honestly, it's one of the softest typing experiences I have yet tried, and I absolutely love it. Alright, so the first thing you guys want to do while you're installing the Thermal is do your stabs first, and then what you want to do is do these standoffs. Then, after that, you can install your switches. They just pop on, it's hot swap. After that, you're going to install your pour-on pads. Then, again, handle with care. Place this down on top of the actual top piece. Next, we're going to grab the 4 little screws that come with it, and we're just going to pop them in place for now, and I'll show you guys what to do here in 1 second. And here we're going to screw our plate in place. I'm screwing it in an X fashion, just because I want to make sure everything goes down evenly. And that is the top piece of the frame. Now, the next thing we're going to do is install the daughter board. There is 4 screws here. You're just going to drop it in, tighten those screws. Once you feel some sort of force, just stop screwing. Now, what I recommend is as you install this daughter board, make sure this is already plugged in. And then to install the top piece onto the bottom piece, what you're going to do is find the connector, and you're going to want to angle it just on a 90-degree angle and plug it in. Now, the next thing I want to recommend you guys doing, and make sure this stays in the channel, is just put this down and slowly drop it into place. Now, it's already going to be aligned, and this is not going to go anywhere, and that's from those screws hitting those 4 cavities on the inside. Grab it and carefully flip it upside down. Grab your screws and tighten it up. And as always, I recommend doing an X formation so everything gets neatly pressed down. Now, the next thing, which I've already done, is you're going to put these silicone feet on the bottom, and that's it. You're done. This is the Thermal. But if you guys want to watch the full build VOD, I'll link that down in the description below. This is just a quick afterthoughts on how to build the Thermal. But overall, the Thermal is actually pretty easy to build. It's a fun build. It sounds great. It feels even better. The actual build quality on this as well is fantastic. It's distributed and handled by RamaWorks as well, so this is going to be, as per the norm, top-notch quality. The included WILBA PCB is VIA compatible, which is awesome. We do love us some VIA. And there's just a lot of cool design that went into the Thermal. As you guys can see, these side pieces look fantastic. They almost look like fans that belong on a radiator or something like that, or some sort of heat sink. But these look great. The actual plate itself adds a bit of shine in the middle of the actual top piece as well, which is fantastic. Depending on what plate color you guys get for the second round, we'll change that, of course. Mine is silver, so this will give me a bit of a silver line. And with the inclusion of a daughter board, obviously the USB-C port sits nice and flush with no wiggle, which is awesome. We do love us some daughter boards. The board also does not move around on the desk, which is great. These large silicone pads prevent that. And the finish is also amazing. I mean, it's great. There's really no complaints at all with the build quality of this. And the packaging and the usual RamaWorks unboxing experience is fantastic, and I don't want to take that away from anyone, so if you guys do want to pick yourself up a RamaWorks product, you guys should definitely check out how they box their things up as well. Not only does it sound great, but the typing experience is fantastic, and that's to be expected with something like a leaf spring plate, especially done correctly. This is just a beautiful board and a great typing experience. Honestly, if you weren't too into the thermal design as well, I'd say even just pick this up just for the typing experience alone. Now, also, I want to touch base on something with the thermal as well. This comes with a little secret bonus, you know? It's not official, but one thing I tend to really do with this keyboard over the last week of using it is these grills on the side are just fun to fidget with. So just take a listen to this. But overall, the board is gorgeous. I really like this thing. I think it really looks good, and honestly, I might even pick an extra one up in rose gold. It's beautiful, and that's all I can really say about the thermal. It really does have a different design, and that's what I've been really looking for in keyboards recently. It's not just another metal rectangle. I want something that's going to be a little bit different from everything else in my collection. Now, there is a new thermal, which you guys will see here. I'll put it up on the screen. It is the Thermal Plus. I really like this as well. Now, it moves those fins on the side to the top, which again, if you guys are wondering, well, Alex, that might look a little bit silly, or Alex, it looks like a comb. Yeah, I get the jokes. I've already heard them. But honestly, I think it works on the top. I think if this was on the side of a 65%, this would be just a tad too long. And honestly, I think the back piece having those fins is going to look really good, especially when you're staring at it from different angles. But there is a lot of subtleties that went into the thermal that I absolutely love. The fact that you're able to see the plate on the side and really kind of customize this with different color plates is fantastic. It does have per key RGB, which I am not using at this current time. And now honestly, the keycaps themselves depend on how well the RGB shines through. With GMK keycaps, it's okay. I've always felt this way about per key RGB. I'll demonstrate it here for you guys. So we got all red. We have raindrops. This is the jelly bean variant. We have a vertical cycling of the rainbow, as well as a horizontal cycling of the rainbow. Now, I think this would look even better with white keycaps, to be honest, or if you're using something else, like if you guys really want to use a different style of keycap that lets that light shine through, this might look really cool. But for me, honestly, I just like the way it looks normally with nothing on. I think it looks fantastic, and I don't feel like it takes away or adds anything to the keyboard. I just think that it's preference. I think this is actually up there with some of the better keyboards I've tried in the last 6 months. I think this is in the top with the new, the F18X, and now the thermal. So with anything, there's probably going to be some criticism. I think the criticism that comes with the thermal is just how delicate the plate is. For an inexperienced builder who's probably not going to be as cautious, or maybe who's not going to be as delicate with handling their parts, it might serve a little bit of a hindrance to be delicate with the plate when you're used to not being as delicate with the plates. So that is one thing that I want to heed caution towards. Again, not really a negative, just a heed of caution. Be careful with your plate. One other thing I would have loved to see is when we look back on the inside of this keyboard here, where you put the wire into the channel to attach the daughter board to the main PCB, I feel like some sort of clasp or clamp built on the inside, or even some sort of way to secure that down, might be great for newer builders. Even for me too, like having to align everything and hopefully nothing shifts as I close it. Sometimes it can be a bit of a pain, but honestly, I haven't seen any keyboards implement that. I think that would be a pretty neat idea, because if you end up not putting it into the channel, some of these keys can feel a little bit different. And I really hope you guys are enjoying these type of videos. They've been a blast to make. This is definitely one of the nicer typing experiences I've had in a while. And again, you guys are allowed to like soft typing experiences or a more firm typing experience. The fun part about the keyboard community is preference. But if you guys are enjoying these videos, please leave me a thumbs up, or I don't know, whatever you do on YouTube. Check out the Twitch page. We do more live builds there and prototypes all the time. Thank you guys, and peace out. Love ya.